The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
No. All right. Well, I think we're all kind of excited. Yes. It's a big night for us here at the Late Show. Let me just give you a thumbnail sketch of what's been going on. Donald Trump has been a good friend of this show ever since we've been on the air. Yeah. And here's the rub for Donald Trump. He has his own show at NBC. Yeah. It's called The Apprentice. Yes. But Donald has been generous enough over the years to come and be on our show on CBS. And NBC hates that. Right. Donald says, I don't care what NBC says. I'm going to go over and be on the Letterman show, nice, the CBS show. And I think the reason he does it is, one, we're close. It's just a cab ride. Right. Just a cab ride. And two, he enjoys getting NBC pissed off. And who, honestly, who wouldn't? Who doesn't? Who exactly. Hasn't? Who hasn't? Right. So... hasn't been here in a year and a half, and we loved having him on because nobody can take a punch like Donald Trump. Yeah. I mean, you can sit right there and say ridiculous things right to his face, and he'll laugh, and it's all great fun. He's like Regis. Yeah. I mean, you can beat up on Regis all night, and at the end of the evening, nobody gets hurt, and then the next day he sends you over some cufflinks. It's a great thing. Yeah. So now, listen to this. Okay. Like a year and a half ago, yes. Donald Trump is talking about Barack Obama. Right. And he's jumping in on this thing about the birth certificate and about the college records, and he wants to see this and he wants to say that. Well, Dr. Phil is on, and you know how Dr. Phil can be. So I'm all worked up, and I said, well, I think that Donald Trump is a racist. And Dr. Phil says, oh, I don't think he's a racist. I think he's just being himself. And I said, no, I think he's a racist. Well, guess what? Donald didn't like being called a racist. Oh. So, okay, so he says, forget it, I won't see you guys. And we thought, well, there goes, we won't have Donald to come and be on the show. And so then the more I got to thinking about it, I thought, you know what, I don't think Donald Trump is a racist, because you don't want to think that about anybody, for God's sakes. That's an ugly, horrible thing to think. And besides, you have to be stupid to be a racist. And if there's one thing Donald Trump is not, it's stupid. I think we can all agree on that, right? Yeah. Here's the other thing we can agree on. We're all straight shooters, right? We are. We have agreed on it. Yeah, that is agreed. So now he says, well, you got to apologize. So I thought about it, and I said, yes, I think in his heart he's not a racist, but what he does is from time to time he says stupid things. And he may say them just to get attention, or he may just be saying them just to make sure his mouth still works. I know how this goes. I do it virtually every night. He and I are essentially the same guy. So now we've been doing a lot of jokes about Donald. He had a big announcement yesterday. He's going to send $5 million to release college records, and so we joked about that, and we beat him up, and we beat him up, and we beat him up, and finally he said, look, I'm supposed to come back there, and you guys are beating me up. Every time I turn on the show, you're beating me up. Yeah. So I called him on the phone today, and I said, look, you got to come and be on the show. Come in and show folks that you can take it. You're a hero. You're a man. And by God, he did just that. He's here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is, Donald Trump. Tell you something.
True story.
If I were you and you had been saying the things about me that I've been saying about you, the last place I'd be would be here.
I was going to say, you would never be.
I would never come back.
I felt very guilty. You called up, and I said to somebody, do you think he's ever done that before? Have you ever done that before?
No, I've made a lot of calls to apologize to people, right. But I've never called up and begged a guest to come and be on the show.
And you know, I've always gotten along well, and this is the first night of sweeps. Is that right?
Is it really?
You need me.
Oh, we do. We not only you need me. He's right about that. He's right about that. Now, and thank you again. I appreciate it. But you know, we'll continue to make jokes about you.
I guess. I guess.
Sure.
Can we stop? No.
But no, we can't stop now because, like
How
I
does
said,
the hair look tonight?
The hair looks great. It's wind tunnel tested, track proven.
It is abused. No question about it.
And now let's just go through this because I decided that you're not a racist. Okay,
That's
and you
true.
said you're not a racist, and it's an ugly thing to call somebody, and I apologize again for that. So tell me, what did I miss in this? Why do we want to see President Obama's college records?
Transparency. Does that make sense to anybody?
No.
I mean, seriously, transparency.
What does that mean, transparency?
It means there's so many hidden things that we just don't know about our president.
What are they?
And
What are the list
I
of
don't
hidden
know.
things?
I can tell you this. George Bush released his records.
I think they were leaked. Those records were leaked.
Well,
he didn't release them.
Let's leak Obama's
They
records.
were leaked.
And, you know, we learned things about George Bush, and some were good and some were terrible.
All right.
But overall, we've had a lot of people, many, many people that have been, and I think almost everybody running for president, they have released the kind of records that I'm talking about.
I don't think they have.
He
What other presidents have released their college
The
records?
Clintons have released them.
Is that true?
Senior has released them. Many have released them. Now, when you get back into the Nixon age, that was a different kind of an age. But recently,
Let me see your
almost all
college
of them-
records.
I would love to. My college records were great. I did well in college.
Well, now
the Wharton School of Finance.
What is the point? What do we care if we see his college records or
Well,
not?
you may learn things about Mr. Obama, President Obama, that frankly you didn't know.
Well, like what?
I hope that you wouldn't. Well, they have a little line saying, place of birth. They have a little now, and I hope I hope everything's perfect.
Okay. Now, where do you think he was born?
I have no idea. I really have no idea. I don't know, David.
Where
I
were
don't
you
say this.
born?
By the way, I was born in Jamaica, New York. Does anyone know Jamaica, New York? Queens, New York. I was definitely born there. But
you're not one of these people. I know this about
you're
you.
right.
You don't believe he was born, that he's not a citizen of the United States. You don't believe that for a second.
I'll tell you what, I'd like to find out. Honestly, I think it's good for him. I assume and I hope that his records are perfect. He picks up $5 million for his favorite charity, David. $5 million.
From you.
For me.
Yeah.
Immediate. Check written. I'd even go more, to be honest.
You know what
have
you
a
need?
scoop.
One of those big checks. Will you get him one of those giant...
But you know what? You're right. David, $5 million. And here's the thing that you would be surprised. I hope everything's perfect. I want it to be perfect. I want it to be
I think it
beautiful.
probably will be perfect.
And it very well might be.
But but he's under no legal obligation to release his college. I mean, my God, Don, if you took a look at my college records, and for the love of God, don't show them to CBS. They'd take this show away from me so quick my head would spin.
And the marks aren't that important. Everybody,
I barely graduated.
Well,
barely graduated.
I think you probably did just fine.
I didn't do just fine. I barely graduated.
He's done well since.
I drank myself through my sophomore year and barely graduated.
And you know what? So did President Obama, according to him.
That he drank a lot?
Well, he said he took drugs, which is, it was nice that he
When did he
revealed
say he
it
took drugs?
in one of his books.
He smoked the
He did
marijuana,
something.
had some
He did
weed.
something. And that's okay. He said it.
Have you ever?
That was okay. No, I've never done
You've
that.
never smoked weed?
No, I've never done that.
You and me and certain members of the band should go out tonight.
We'd have a good time. We'll have a good time.
We'll be right back here with Donald Trump, everybody. Donald Trump is here, ladies and gentlemen. You feel we were unfair last night. We were making
But you
ugly
were
jokes.
tough.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But you had the big announcement that may change the election. Now, how would this change the election?
Well, actually, I mean, if it turned out to be negative, which I certainly would hope that it wouldn't, there would be no election.
Be no
understand?
election?
No, because if you're not born in this country, you're not allowed to run for president.
So so we'd have to start all over.
You'd start all over, or something would happen. You do have a thing called the Constitution. Do we agree?
Yeah.
Okay, so
But see, I think he probably was born where he says he was born. He was born in Hawaii.
The word probably is not a good word.
But let me ask you this.
I think he might be and probably would be too. But you can't use the word probably. If you said he was definitely born here, no records in a hospital, you know, little
How
problems
long would
like
it take you to get a hold of your birth certificate right now?
I could have it within an hour. I'd go right back to Fifth Avenue. I'd be back here. I would have it for
You have your birth certificate at your
my
house,
office.
in your office?
In my office, absolutely.
It would take me 6 or 7 months. I have no idea. I mean, I lost it the first time I moved. Honey, have you seen what happened to my birth certificate? The FBI is here.
By the way, it took Obama 6 years to get his birth certificate. John McCain wanted it. Hillary Clinton wanted it. It was never revealed until I got involved. I got a lot of credit for it, but it took him 6 years to get his birth certificate. I could get you mine in less than an hour.
I'll give you $5 million.
Oh, David, Joe, just to sort of end it, I have to say, I want everything to be perfect. I do want transparency. It's what we're all about. I want things to be perfect. I want him to show the greatest set of papers ever. I want to hand a check to his favorite charity, Inner City Children in Chicago, American Cancer Society, AIDS Research. It's $5 million. What do? Come next Wednesday at 5 o'clock. If he doesn't give simple papers, the charities don't get $5 million. I think that's pretty unfair.
Well, I understand your point, but it's also nice. Please, come on. The breeze will disturb his hair. Settle down.
You're right. That's true.
But I like to think of a president as being above coercion or simple blackmail here.
Well, it's not blackmail. No.
But now,
you know what it is? It's very simple, and it's look, not such a big thing, but to me it is a big thing.
It's not.
It's five.
It's not a big thing. I know better than that.
Very big thing.
What about Romney and releasing his tax records?
I'm sure he would do it.
But he hasn't, has he? Has he done it?
I am sure. I'll tell you what, the swap I like, his tax returns for President Obama's college records and passport records. What a deal!
Yeah.
That's a good deal. Would you make that deal?
I'll make that deal.
I would make that deal in a minute
You
if
and
I
I
was Romney.
split the $5 million.
No, I'd like that too.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.